All right, what's up, Rock Camp bass players? It is our week 5. We have special guest Brew, who has taught at several of our rock camps and is also one of my favorite bass players in town. And you throw down in a band called Dark Lord, as well as other bands, which you can always go check out, I'm sure. And Brew, you're just awesome. Thank you so much for your stage presence lesson. That's the reason why I asked you to do it, because when I think of bass players who have stage presence, I think of you. And so thank you so
Oh,
much for
well,
making
thank you.
the video.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh. Um, but so we usually kind of just started off to see if anybody had any questions about the bass lesson or any thoughts that came up for you in your bass playing and taking what Brew taught us and applying it. Anyone?
I just had a question about kind of you, like how you got started playing bass, because I know that you do a lot of different things and your personality really comes out in your bass playing, I feel like. So I'm just wondering, with all the things you do, like I know you do roller derby, I know you do MMA fighting, like what made you pick up a bass?
The bass is actually the first thing I picked up.
Oh, you picked that
Uh,
first and then you did the other. That's cool. I didn't know
yeah,
that. That's awesome.
yeah. I knew like since I was a kid, my parents were both playing drums for bands, and I knew like I want to be in a band. Like I knew from a kid. So I started the bass when I was like 17 or 18, and at that point, the only sport afforded to me was dance because the little girls can dance, the boys go to fight sports, and so even then at that time when I wanted to pick up an instrument, there it's not that my parents wouldn't support me. It was just like, you play the piano. That's what girls do. And I was like, no, I'm going to be a rock star. Like, I am Lemmy, mom, duh. So it was very, like, I had to pursue that. And at that time, obviously, rock camp didn't exist for me back then. And I had to seek out dudes, to help me learn and teach me and stuff. And I was a dancer at that point, and that's why the bass came naturally for me. Is I was already a classically trained dancer, so I was like, I love rhythm, and so that just went to that. And then later, I got into all the other cool stuff.
That's cool. That's really awesome. Anyone
And
else
yeah,
with
brought up,
questions?
well, I thought that's cool. You brought up a cool point about how being a dancer helps you as a bass player. Because hello, the whole reason why the audience dances is the bass player. So, right? I mean, so Brew, I mean, how can you explain how you translate those two languages together?
Yeah, actually, I was just describing this the other day at band practice because I was talking about, we were laughing. They were making fun of me about the whole pick thing and my pick stance. And I was saying, I was like, I used to dance and I see my fingers, the way they move on the bass, the same as my steps in a dance movement. I can't get that same fluidity with a pick like I can with my fingers. And while it is, difficult at first for sure, you feel it, and you allow your fingers to move. And a lot of people don't realize that you can move them fairly quickly because you don't have to slap that bass string as hard as people sometimes feel. Like it's a loud instrument. It will pick it up. So even if you're, galloping on it, it will pick it up. It doesn't have to be like, you know what I mean? You can just fluidly move those fingers and get that rhythm that you're looking for. And, it is obviously it's going to callus and everything, and it'll take a minute, but I feel personally that you can get a lot more established with your fingers than a pick.
Yeah, your hands are dancing. Your right hand is dancing. Your right hand is like little feet, little dancing
It
moves.
is. It is. And I use all four fingers.
Oh,
I have,
cool.
I
What?
have, yeah, like I use all four fingers when I do it. And maybe I have small hands. I mean, I do have small hands, but, that allows me to really, gallop between the strings to use all four fingers. And then we got our resty thumb, right? That rests on a pickup usually, but right, and we move it and everything. So I use all four fingers when I'm really trying to get that rhythm going, because I do sometimes try to match the guitar, or I'll switch over to the drums, or I'll switch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like the bass player's got to be able to be versatile enough to follow whatever the flow might be.
Yeah, and you're not playing simple bass lines or simple melodies. You're playing, would you consider it heavy metal? Like what, you know, Heavy metal.
Primarily, yeah.
Yeah.
Primarily my love's in heavy metal. Like even though when you play a punk riff, and sure I could get away with doing my fingers on that. I mean a pick on that, but I still feel like it's more flavorful if you use your fingers. You know, there's still just that extra oomph you can get that a pick just this is all you got with a pick. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Versus my fingers, I can go like this, I can slow it down, I can, gallop between, you know what I mean? Rest, boom, 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 right? You know what I mean? So you can just, you know, change it, and it makes it funner, I think.
For
I don't know.
sure. Dynamics, all of it. And plus, when you use a pick, you got a piece of plastic in between you and your instrument.
Oh
So,
yeah, and I feel like a pick catches. You know what I mean? A pick will catch. And lately, I've been playing with the guitar. Trying to try something new during quarantine, and the pick will catch. And I'm like, I didn't mean to hit that, and like, so yeah, I definitely prefer my fingers, but with the guitar stuff, I'm like, oh, this is so weird.
I think it's awesome. And then I also love, you put in the effort on stage. Wear clothes that like stand out, clothes that are you're comfortable, you can still be active and move, like all that.
Oh yeah. And I did try to, point that out in the video that that typical aesthetic was mine. But whatever your aesthetic is, make it times 20 for the stage, right? Because it's like I, as an audience person, before I was ever in bands, I go and you pay your $10 cover or $15 cover to go see a band. I don't want to see just jean shorts, looks like they're trotting through the mall. Like there was no effort put into that show. So it makes me feel cheated as an audience member, like, well, I came to rock and these people don't look like they're even wanting to rock. And so it's like it doesn't have to be like all black and the chains and stuff. I've seen bands dressed up for their genre. The Eurovision is a great example, right? Eurovision wouldn't be as successful as all those people came out looking like, oh, I just went and saw my grandma for lunch today. You know what I mean? Like it's
Put it
about
on both.
yeah, like it's like whatever is their style, they amplify that. It could be disco, it could be the country, whatever it is. Like just dress up, bring it, right? Like nobody wants to see like dad bod like just sitting there in his grilling clothes, all like yay. You're like, oh, I paid $20 for this, like, bro.
You're talking about most of the bands, and never mind, I'm not going to go there.
No.
I stopped myself. But I mean, it's important, stay presenting yourself, and it also helps with confidence. Like, if you are stoked on how you look and how you're feeling, then, like, that's what truly matters, because your confidence is what's going to come through on stage if you're comfortable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Um, go ahead.
oh, I was just going to mention that, like, even I see it in the gym as well. We have sparring day, and you see even the guys dress up for sparring day. You're thinking it's gym clothes. They don't really dress up, but they do. There's that little, you know what I mean? And you can see that those people feel good. They wear their favorite gym shorts that day, and this girl's sports bra makes her feel awesome, and everybody does better. You know what I mean? And it's just that little bit you need that it does. It carries you through. You're just like, I look rad, and then you do rad.
One of the other things from your video I thought was awesome is how you talked about if you mess up, don't make a big scene, right? Get right back into it. Like that's one of the things I used to do all the time when I was first playing. I mess up, I'd go, ah! And it's like, then everybody knew I messed up, right? But if I mess up and I just go, ooh, right back into what I'm doing, is there any key, like anything in particular you want to talk about that?
Um, I feel like there there comes a point when a band has been together, whether it's new or not, there's stress factor when you get on stage. Everybody is stressed out. It's not just you, the whole band is stressed out. You guys are all nervous together. That sometimes that perceived, like, oh, I messed up. It might come across wrong to your band where they're like, why are you doing that? Now you make us all look like crap or something, you know what I mean? And it's like you don't want to draw that attention away from your band and be like, oh, you know what I mean? You want to keep the show, the illusion going, if you will, because at the end of the day, they don't know your songs. And I could sit here and write you a song in 5 minutes and be like, I worked on this for years. And if I sell it to you, you'll believe me. But it's like, it takes away from that moment of that band if you're just like, you know what I mean? And it's like, it does stress everybody out. And I think it lowers that mood. And instead of dwelling on that, you know. And it's just like in life, you know, when you mess up in life, you mess up at your job or you messed up something, you drop the ball somewhere, you can't dwell on that. That energy, you know, is very, very absorbent. And so you want to just be like, dang it, I messed up. I'm going to plow through with a smile on my face, you know. And they say that in psychology too, right? That putting a smile on your face will just change it, period. No matter what has happened, just putting a simple act of just being like, smiling completely just alters that mood and that energy. And so I think that's really important, that if you are on stage and you mess up, just smile. You know what I mean? There's no need to bring that and add attention to that mistake. And your band they're nervous too, you know, they're having a hard time too, you know, you're in this together. So it's like, smile with it, you know. And same as somebody else messes up, don't give them a dirty look. And I've been guilty of this myself. Where somebody else messed up and you're just like, there's a camera in the audience and you get the photos back later and it's like you're just glaring at your guitar player or whomever, you know, and you're just like, oh man. And it's like, they don't need that either, you know. So you just gotta just keep the face like, it happens, but don't, you know, project that, and don't sell them under the bus, or, you know, throw them under the bus, so to say. You know, keep it chipper, you know, you're like, yay.
I'm so guilty of that. My band Marinade that I was in a long time, you know, being the drummer, it was between me and the bass player every time. So if the bass player made a mistake, I would just stank eye from the side, you know, and then everybody be like, we saw that, you know, after the show, my friends would be like, we saw that, you know. I was like, oh, dang it. So, you know, you don't realize it. Like, it'll come through on your video
Yep.
forever. Your video
Yep.
doesn't go away. Like your live shows, those happen and go, but your videos are there. So if you mess up, start the song over, try again, you know,
Oh
recover
yeah.
that.
It,
Or just keep playing. And it's not, if it's not a huge mess up, you can just keep playing through it, right?
Absolutely. And I, you know, and it's just like, it's excuse me, it's like, the, you know, mistakes are gonna happen. It's the name of the game. You could practice until your, you know, fingers fall off, you're going to mess up. It's just, it's what it is. But it's how we react to it. And like you said, yeah, I've got videos of myself, you know, years past, you know, giving the stank eye like scowl, you know what I mean? And you're just like, that's not the energy I wanted. And at the same time, you know, I know that my bandmate is also trying hard and they're also under pressure and they're also stressed out by this show. You know, it's not just about me. So I definitely, yeah, like I, you know, always say that to the new guys too. You know, it's like, don't hold out anybody else either. You know, don't do it to yourself and don't do it to anybody else. Like, it's gonna happen. You move on. And it's like, just get over it type of shit.
It's all right. We're not robots, right? We're humans. Like we're not robots. Music, robotic music to me is can be very boring, you know. There's no like change, there's no humanness to it.
Yeah.
Real live music has it breathes, you know. It's not perfect. It's not right on the exact beat to the cent. It's going to be a little bit off. It's going to breathe. It's going to move. So remember that. You're not a robot, you know. I was wondering if maybe Beelan, if you wanted to show your bass line, or Hillary, either or, and maybe we can look at the bass lines and have you try it, you know, both playing it and then maybe stand up and play it and with a little more brew. Do it like Brew would do it.
Okay, okay.
Yay, Beelan.
Okay.
Awesome.
If I okay. So to my song, right?
Yep,
All right.
you got this.
Okay, I'll turn it up a bit. I'll try and move to the group.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was awesome. And I loved how you just kept smiling throughout the whole thing. And ultimately, that's what it is. You know, if you just keep a smile on your face, everybody, the energy in the room is just that. It's positive. And that's why, like, you know, they talk about so much how much a smile changes everything and it changes the mood, you know. And then I say it in my video, I don't care if I'm playing the darkest, deepest metal, I'm still smiling because I'm having a good time. I love this, you know, so I'm not sure, in certain parts of the song, I have to stand there very stoic, like, "Ooh, I'm big and evil," you know what I mean? But when the song gets going, you're gonna find photos. I'm just like, you know what I mean? So it's all about that smile, and I think that you're right there. You were just following your own rhythm, and it's that's music. We will follow our own little rhythm there, and you're jamming to it, and it's hard to keep right when the band's playing or if somebody makes a mistake. You're like, I gotta stay on time. I gotta stay. But keep that smile and just keep that positive energy, and you will be able to progress from there. You've got nowhere to go but up.
Yeah. And I also loved how you were rocking back and forth. Because that definitely, like, that bass line, boom, 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 like, it makes you want to do that. And it's perfect because your movement is matching what you're playing. It helps the notes come out. Um, and then I would say, too, on your chorus, because your chorus is more driving and you go to that eighth notes, right? That's awesome. You're a natural. B-Lynn, I don't know if you know this, Brew, but B-Lynn's never played bass until this camp, so...
Oh, well, congrats.
Yeah.
Bass is the coolest.
I love the bass. I hear it in every song now.
Yep. It's all you're gonna hear. And I'd say maybe on your chorus too, some of the times you might just want to work with, if your first chorus is gonna be a little quieter, maybe you would play a little quieter, and then and the third verse, when you guys are getting louder, try playing just a little bit harder, adding a little more of intensity. And you can also you're on 3, you can do a ba 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 bum bum, and that would be a 5 bum to your G. Because I think you're ready to add another note in there if you feel comfortable. And those are just little simple things, right, Brew? Like once you get comfortable playing like the root note, you can add little slides or little things.
Yeah, and I use that's why I chose to use the guitar for that example, because I get it. When it's a new instrument, I get it. You're like, you know what I mean? And to, go back to that guitar example, like I'm learning one thing, and then as soon as I feel comfortable enough, I add that one extra note, just to give it that flavoring, right? I mean, this is like a meal that we're making. We got our base, right? And then we got to add the flavorings, and we got to put the spices, and then we're going to make the creation, and then we build up the whole thing ready to present on a plate, and that's our show, right? So as we're making this, we're starting with the base, the foundation, and you build on that, and adding that one little note. Boop, that's some salt right there, boop, just sometimes you might not need a lot of it, sometimes you might, but play with that, and as you feel more comfortable, and like she said, just adding that one more thing is just that little thing you need. And I do it with the guitar too. When I finish and I'm like, okay, got this one thing down, add the one extra, and then I work on that for a while before I add anything else.
Yeah, like a goal. Create a goal that you can easily accomplish, and then once you accomplish that, say, all right, I'm going to add an extra little thing after the G, But your groove is there, your notes are there, I think that bass line's killer. It gets stuck in your head. Yeah, that's awesome. What about you, Hillary? Do you want to show your line?
I'm actually playing keys on the song that we're doing,
right.
so yeah.
I'm sorry.
But I'm just here to get all the tips for my other bass playing ventures. Because randomly I'll play in the fem. I'll play bass sometimes drums. So.
Oh, I see your bass.
Oh, this bass, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at
It's
that
like
bass.
a semi
Wow.
really kind of
Dang,
cool.
Wow,
That's
that's
fun.
pretty.
Yeah, I like it. It's a lot. I got it because it is lighter weight. A lot of times basses they just really hurt my shoulder, like really heavy basses. So this one was a little lighter, and that was definitely a factor. And yeah, I like the sound. It has the different pickup settings, and I put flat wounds on it to make it sound kind of more vintagey.
If you use a heavy flow maxi pad on your shoulder there.
Thanks for that tip. I probably will.
I did it with the clitoritas.
I bet you have, yeah.
Over big old heavy flow maxi pad right there. I was like,
that's
shoulder.
Awesome.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's genius.
It's
Bring back shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Right? I was all like, if I didn't have one, I was just all like, what has Smith got to help me with my shoulder? And I'm like,
Max pads. Yep.
Brilliant. That brings up a good point, Bruce. Since you do athletics too, is there some stretches or anything that you could show us that you do to help after you play bass?
So can't show you the one of the ones, but a lot of the back stuff that we have is from improper posture.
Mm.
And one of the things that I talk about a lot with posture in everything I do is you always want to like have your shoulder blades touching, right? You know, neck straight, shoulder blades touching. And I always call it my boob posture, right? Because you're like, oh, that's right. We just made these tiny babies, you know. But the fact is you need that, because if we start slouching, when we start getting tired, we're already slouching, and then we're slouching, and then we're slouching. And yeah, the weight is in front of us, so we're hunched over. That puts pressure on your lower back more than anything, and that's how you get that lower back pain. So proper posture is huge in everything. Even if you're sitting down, always sit upright. Don't allow yourself to just start going this way. If you find that your lower back starts to hurt, hip stretches for the front of your pelvis will help alleviate a lot of the back. So if you can, you know, it looks like a lunge. You know, when you go to do a lunge, put your hands above your head and do a deep of a lunge as you can, and to stretch out all this front area of your pelvis. That will help a lot. But the best care is preventative care, right? It's like I tell my team. So try with just starting with proper posture. And always, like, if you catch yourself, you're like working, you're like, oh, take a breath, stand straight, make sure your shoulder blades are trying to touch each other, right? It's not like you have to stand like this the whole time, but I mean, it's just a reset point, right? You reset point. So you get your proper posture, work with your proper posture. And yes, of course, you're gonna start getting tired, and then catch yourself again, right? But always, like, posture is huge, especially as we start getting older and our bodies aren't recovering like they used to. And you get up and you sound like a Rice Krispie commercial. You're like, ah, pop, crackle, snap all over the place. So posture and stretches are huge. And it has a lot to do, that pain in your lower back has a lot to do with you're putting that weight, and our lower back absorbs most of that weight because it's front heavy. So just definitely always be like, da, 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 your chi move. Yes.
And then my chiropractor actually told me there's a new thing. It's called Zoom neck. So good luck, everyone. Zoom.
Oh,
It's a real thing. And, you know, everybody's gone and spending more time now on the internet, and we're like zoomed in, you know, and
yeah,
it's like your head pressure puts on, was it like 8 pounds, right? And every inch puts on more pounds. And then you put a 15-pound base over your shoulder and your neck. And that's like putting even more. So yeah, I love that you brought up good posture, because I need to remind him of that all the time. You know,
oh yeah.
yeah.
Like posture's huge, and do it when you're driving. Everybody, we get all bad when we drive. All of us, I see it all, and I myself included, and always, you know, and if you're spending a lot of time in the car or at your desk, always just take that second. If you have an exercise ball, stretching on it backwards, right, laying it like bending over, you know, so your belly's up to the ceiling. Like that's another great pelvis stretch that helps the lower back.
Cool. Yeah, music's not easy. It's athletic. I tell people it's a sport. You know,
It,
it's a total sport.
you sweat
Yep.
and you cry and you get hurt.
Yep.
You
You
know?
have to train for it, you know? Train,
Absolutely.
practice, drink water, all those important things. Um,
Absolutely.
so we were talking about this in vocals, but if you go in before you play your song and you're just like, I'm not going to play the bass right this time, right? What do you know, what's going to happen if you go in thinking, oh, I'm just awful at the bass, and then you go play the bass?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I tell the younger kids, you know, I said, you're walking right now, right? You're walking. Because when you were crawling, you were like, I want to get up. I want to get up more than anything. And you did. And you already did that. And you're walking. Every time you go in, you have to want that, and you'll get it. And you just have to want it. And a lot of people, you know, I know we live in a life of instant results, but you just have to want it. One day you were crawling and now you're walking, and some of us are running. You know what I mean? It's these progressions, and it's that attitude, because as a baby, you weren't like, I'm not going to walk. This is stupid. You know what I mean? As a baby, you're like, oh, you see all these adults walking around, and you're like, I want to walk, I want to walk, I want to walk. And you walked, you know? And it's the same thing here. You gotta want it. And it's like, yeah, and I'm not saying there aren't bad days. Like I've gone to band practice some days and I'm just like, you know what I mean? And it might not be my best performance, but I never want to bring my things to band practice, to my band. You know what I mean? Anything negative, especially if they can't help me with it. Like if it's something like, guys, I got a flat tire, help me out. You know, it's one thing, but it's like, if it's just my mood and stuff like that, you want to not bring that down, you know. Everybody's there, they're working. You have to remember your bandmates are also suffering. You know, they got their own dramas and problems too, and they're also trying to work on something new, and they're also trying to work through their insecurities and their emotions. So it's like when we go to band practice, we should all be happy we're there, you know, and want it and be like, you know what, I'm gonna work hard on this, you know, as hard as I can for today. Do
Yep.
the best that I can today.
I love that. So we talked about this too, is writing 5 things that you love about yourself. You know, I want y'all to do that. We already talked about it earlier, but do it for sure. And look at those things every day until you record your video. And just remember, like, you rock. You're doing something that's amazing that, you know, you probably wanted to do your whole life and maybe haven't had the chance or been scared or whatever. You're being vulnerable in front of all these strangers, but you're kicking butt. And I just think, Brew, thank you so much for like inspiring us, like, because the bass generally is not played by women. It is just not one of those instruments that you see. And so when you came to rock camp and all our kids got to see you be you and your full form of Brew, and our adults too at Slay Lake City, seeing you just inspire the adults, like, thank you. You know, your presence matters to the whole music scene. I know, cry, tear
I
tally.
know. I'm a lady. I put on makeup today. What are you doing to me? What are you doing to
Well,
me?
it's just important. So your representation matters, and we appreciate it so much that you made that video for camp, and you rock. So
Thank you. And I'll tell you, at first I thought that video was gonna be easy, and then I started making it, and I was like, oh my god! I was like, what am I talking about? And I had my 11-year-old niece there helping me, and she's
nice.
just trying to give me pointers. I was just like, felt like I'm just talking to myself in this open space, like, oh, I'm just gonna make up questions and stuff. But
I think you could teach bass lessons if you really wanted to, you know, like, and this has been cool for me because when you look up things on YouTube and you say, I want to learn how to bass, there's hardly any female bass teachers, if any, you know, and so when
yeah,
you added to that, you're changing the demographic. It's awesome. So,
no, I thank you guys because
ah,
trust me, the very first rock camp I ever went to, and when I walked in, and I was just like, it was in 1300 South, across the street from that Lowe's, that little building there, and
yeah,
I was just blown away. It was by far the most children I'd ever come that close in contact with. I was like, ah! But it was cute. It was so cool because they had instruments and they were learning things and they were building their little groups. And oh my God, I was like, ran home and ate all this birth control because I was like, oh no. I'm like, that was too dangerous for me. That was too dangerous. But
I don't
no,
want
it was
children.
cute.
No,
Yeah,
that's great. That was the
like,
very first rock camp, so you were the very
it,
first one. It's awesome.
it was
Do you
amazing.
have any words of wisdom you want to send us on our way with? Anything, you know, that the Tao of Brew?
Yes, starting new things are scary. Do it anyway. Anything you want to learn, it's never too late. I'm 38 years old and I've started playing the guitar because of quarantine, you know? And it's not like I have this deep desire for it, but it's like, why not learn something new? Why not? Keep learning, keep studying, always learn. You want to learn a second language? Go for it. You want to learn how to make the best potatoes? Make them, you know? Whatever it is, just do it.
Awesome. And where can people find your music and find out about, you know, your roller derby and all that?
Brewja801.com. Literally, like it says my name right here on the thingy. Right there it is. That.com.
Okay, brewha801.com.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brew. And yeah, everybody keep rocking. Channel your inner Brew when you play your bass,
Yeah.
you know? Yes.
This is for all of you guys.
Mwah.
Love you.
Yeah.
Love you.